The connection between the Mongolian Empire and the so-called Tartarian Empire is one of the most debated pieces of the lost history puzzle. Some say the Mongols were simply a brutal, but historically real horde of horsemen. But others see them as the military arm of a much vaster, more advanced civilization that stretched from the Americas to India. Before we get into the differences between these two views, let's start with what both sides agree on. Let me tell you a brief history of the Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire was founded by Genghis Khan Temujin in the early 1200s. At its peak in 1279, it was the largest contiguous land empire in world history, stretching from China to Eastern Europe. After Genghis died, his successors split the empire into 4 different khanates. The Yuan dynasty centered in China, the Golden Horde centered in Russia and Eastern Europe, the Ilkhanate centered in Persia and the Middle East, and the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia. By the 14th and 15th centuries, all four collapsed, though Mongol influence and people groups lingered for centuries in many parts of the world. So now let's look at some old maps. From the 1500s to the 1800s, European maps show a vast region labeled Tartaria or Great Tartary that covers Siberia, Central Asia, Mongolia, and surrounding lands. Europeans essentially just lumped all the various steppe peoples who lived there, the Turks, Mongols, and Tatars, into one broad category called Tartars. So Tartaria was really more of a European cartographic shorthand than an actual empire name. In mainstream records, the Mongols were a historical reality, but Tartaria is seen as a myth. However, in the alt history or Tartaria view, Tartaria was the name of a real, advanced civilization. Here are some of the things they claim. First, evidence left behind by the empire can still be seen today. Things like star forts, free energy architecture, domes, spires, and what they call antiquitech. There was also a unified cultural style that supposedly linked Russia, Siberia, India, China, and even the Americas, showing a vast interconnected civilization. They also believe that this civilization was wiped out during the 19th century resets, whether through mud floods, fires, or wars. And finally, the story goes that the Romanovs, King Dynasty, and Western powers erased all records of Tartaria because it was too embarrassing to admit how backward and uncivilized they were compared to their advanced technology. In this view, then the Mongol Empire was simply the military face of Tartaria, an extension of a larger, more complex system. Genghis Khan and his successors were not just tribal leaders who united some nomadic tribes and went on a conquest spree. They were the rulers of a technologically advanced Eurasian power that was part of a lost high civilization now defined as barbaric. The collapse of the Mongols in the 14th and 15th centuries then allowed Russia, China, and the European powers to divide up Tartaria and erase its memory. But hopefully this explanation of the mainstream versus alternative views on the Mongols and Tartaria helps you understand where all this talk is coming from. There are claims made about everything, from ancient astronauts to psychic powers being used in war to anti-gravity devices being deployed against entire armies. Do you think there's any truth to these alternative theories? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to see more.